السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الحمد لله الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ما بعد. I welcome you all to the class of Hidayatun Nahw, and today we are in 16th lesson. Inshallah, we're talking about Mansoobaat as usual, and totally 56 lessons, right? Inshallah. So today Al-Qism al-Thamin, the 8th type of Mansoobaat, this is Mustathna, exception. Mansoobaat are the ones which take fathas, no? Generally speaking, or they drop noons and so on. So one of them is Mustathna, exception. Mustathna is a little complicated because has so many rules you have to consider. But as a general rule, remember if it is a positive sentence, right, you make it mansub. Right? If it's negative and all that, then there are a lot of issues. But generally, a positive sentence, muthbat, you make it mansub. But let's see how he tries to explain what an exception is. Al-mustathna lafdhun yudhkaru ba'da illa wa akhwatiha. First things first, mustathna is a word which is mentioned after illa. That's called mustathna. So the word before illa is called mustathna minhu. I mean, you're accepting from. So there's a big group like school students, and then you're accepting Hamid. So you're taking him out. So Hamid is mustathna. The whole group is called mustathna minhu. You've taken exception from it. ليعلم أنه لا ينسب إليه ما ينسب إلى ما قبلها. To know that whatever is لا ينسب إليه, it's not ascribed to him. ما ينسب إلى ما قبلها, what is ascribed to what before it. Like I said, all students are good except Hamid. So the application of good is for the whole group, but not for Hamid. والمستثنى على قسمين, and there are two types of mustathna. One is muttasilun, وهو ما كان جنس المستثنى. Now there's a first division. There's a lot of divisions. I mean, totally three types of divisions. First is muttasil. In English, there's no muttasil munqati as such, but in Arabic we do have, which is rare. So muttasil is وهو ما كان جنس المستثنى منه. It is from the same type. Now it is the same genus. منه مثل جاءني القوم إلا زيدا. The people came to me except Zaid. So Zaid is one of the people, right? So we say this is called muttasil. There are a lot of terminologies. Don't worry about it. Then we have munqati'. Munqati' is like وهو ما لا يكون. It's not from the same type, and they're accepting from it. That's how Arabs do it. وهو ما لا يكون مستثنى من جنس المستثنى. Like you're talking about animals and you're talking about a human being. So, for example, جاء المسافرون, the travelers came, except إلا أمتعتهم, except their luggage. Now we know the luggage is not a human being, right? So it's from the different type. So this is also allowed in Arabic, and this is called munqati'. This is called munqati', disjunctive, conjunctive, disjunctive. Okay. So this is the first type we need to know. And munqati' is very rare anyways. You'll know it right from the bat. Like this is... the men came except the donkeys. I mean, donkeys are not part of men. I'rabul mustathna. So he just divided into two. Okay, let's see how you do the i'rab. First is an-nasbu. And there are four positions. وَيَكُونُ فِي أَرْبَعَةِ مَوَاضِعٍ. First is nasb. It'll happen in four places. First is al-mustathna muttasilu al-mujabu tam. So you have to see three things. I told you, right? This is what you have to see. First, you have to see, is it muttasil or munqati'? Practically speaking, you may not see that. It's very uncommon to have munqati'. That means men came except the donkeys is very uncommon. The first thing you have to see is mujab. Positive or negative is the basic thing which you have to see. Mujab or ghayru mujab. And the second thing you have to see is tam or naqis. What is tam is, in Arabic, you can say no one came. So I'm selling no one, right? No one came except Hamidun. So I can say ma ja'a ahadun illa hami. Then nobody came except Hamidan. I can delete the ahadun and say ma ja'a illa hamidun. Right? I mean, you can't really say did not come except Hamid, kind of. Oh, he did not come. No one came. You have to say no one in English, I guess. But in Arabic, we can't say that. That means we have to delete the illa and say, okay, we'll see the text, inshallah. Go back to Madina books if you're getting stuck here. We have a lot of exercises there. Madina book 3, almost second last lesson. In the last book 3, last lessons, we learned about Mustathna. So this is بأن لا يكون في الكلام نفي ولا نهي ولا استفهام. So what is mujab? He says there should be no nafi, no negation. You cannot say no. You cannot prohibit someone, don't do this, don't do that. You cannot have a question. ويكون المستثنى منه مذكورا. And the mustathna minhu should be mentioned. That means tam. Tam means it should be mentioned. For example, جاء القوم إلا سعيدا. The people came except Sa'id. Now you see, first things first. Is it a positive sentence? Is this mujab or muthbat? Naam, yes. Is it muttasil? I mean, we don't care about muttasil munqati anyway, so we don't ask that question generally. Second question is you have to ask is the mustathna minhu mentioned? What is mustathna minhu? The bigger group is mentioned or not? Yes, it is mentioned. And it will always be mentioned in positive sentences. Remember that. We'll see, inshallah, examples. I cannot say Ja'a illa Sa'idun. No, that's not allowed. So, basic rule is if it is a positive sentence, it has to be tammun also. Right? It should be mujab and tam always. If it is naqis, that means it's not mentioned, it will automatically be ghayru mujab. I mean, okay. So, Ja'al qawmu illa sa'idan. So, this has to be musbat tam or mujab tam, whatever you call it. So, this is the basic rule. If it is a positive sentence, may blindly make it mansub. Second is al-mustathna munqati'. This is rare anyways. If it is from a different group blindly, like men came except the donkeys, Ra'aytul musafirina illa amti'atahum. Make it mansub blindly. I saw the travelers except their luggage. Al-mustathna al-mutaqaddim ala al-mustathna. So what happens is mustathna minhu. The exception has come before. Ma ja'ani illa akhaka ahadun. This also blindly make it. I mean, this is also rare, I guess. No one came except your brother. No one. I mean, one. So did not come except your brother, anyone. So like that. If it comes before also, you have to make it blindly mansub. Al-mustathna bi ada wa khala. Now, if you use other particles like illa, except without illa, ada and khala, alal akthari, according to majority, most scholars, wa bima khala wa bi, and with ma khala ma ada laysa la yakunu. With all these also, mithlu katabat tullabu darsa ada khalidan. Ada khalidan. So others also you make it mansub. Ma khala khalidan. Same meaning, right? Except Khalid. The student wrote the lesson except Khalid. So we can remember out of the 4, 2 things. If it is a positive sentence, it is a positive sentence, make it mansub. If it is what do you call munqati, rare anyways, make it mansub. And these last 2 are rarer than this one. Ma'ada ma khala is obvious. Jawazun nasbi ala al-badaliyati wal itba'. The second is, first is wujub. He said what? A nasbu. It should be mandatory. The second is jawaz. It's allowed to make it nasb or you follow it. Itba' means follow it. If the mustathna minhu previous word is rafa, you do it rafa. If it is nasb, nasb. So you can do both. Their choice here. وَذَلِكَ إِذَا كَانَ الْمُسْتَثْنَى فِي كَلَامِ غَيْرِ مُوجَبٍ. It should be negative sentence. وَالْمُسْتَثْنَى مِنْهُ مَذْكُورًا. And the mustathna minhu is mentioned. So it's what? Tammun. It's tam. The mustathna, the bigger group is mentioned and it is negative. Negative prohibition or question. For example, ma ja'a ahadun, no one came illa. So what you can do is, ahadun has dhamma, no? You can say illa sa'idan, or make it mansub. Or you can say illa sa'idun. Illa sa'idun. So first question you ask, is it a positive sentence? No, it's not. Is it a negative sentence? Okay. You have to see one more thing. Is the bigger group mentioned? Mustathna minhu mentioned? Yes, it is mentioned. So what you have to do, you have a choice. You have a choice. فَيَجُوزُ فِيهِ النَّصْبُ عَلَى الْإِسْتِثْنَاءِ. So nasb is allowed, sa'idan, or وَالْإِتْبَاعُ عَلَى الْبَدَلِيَّةِ. Or you can copy it. If this has rafa, you can copy it. You can say illa sa'idun. So sa'idan or sa'idun. Okay, this is what is explaining. Accusative and subordination based on equivalence. So difficult English. I hope you understand this thing. Huh? Like if it's a negative sentence, you copy it. You copy, make it mansub like the normal rule, or you can copy it also. Al-i'rabu hasbul awamil. And third thing is only copying, right? Only copying when there is deleted. وذلك إذا كان المستثنى مفرغا. مفرغ means ناقص. Same thing. مفرغ means empty. There's nothing mentioned there. بأن يكون بعد إلا في كلام غير موجب. It can only happen in كلام غير موجب والمستثنى منه غير مذكور. And the مستثنى منه is not mentioned. What is مفرغ? It will only happen in negative sentences, and the mustathna minhu is not mentioned. So remember, positive, make it mansub. You cannot have mufarragh in positive. You cannot have something like ja'a illa hamidun. You cannot do that. It's not possible. But if it is negative, you have to ask two questions. Is the bigger group mustathna minhu mentioned? Two choices. Yeah, you make it mansub or you copy it. It is not mentioned, then you have to do it according to the sentence. تقول ما جاءني إلا سعيد. There's only one option here. Did not come. So جاء requires a file. No one came to me except Sa'id. Why? You might be like, why? Why is this happening? Because this is not really an exception. This is an kind of an emphasis. Like no one came to me, only Sa'id. That means only Sa'id came to me. It's not really technically an exception. Ma ra'aytu, I did not see anyone illa sa'idan. That means what? You're not accepting a bigger group. There's no like students or whatever. That means I saw only Sa'id. Wa ma marartu illa bi sa'idin. See here, ra'aytu requires a object, an object. So you make it mansub. And ma marartu, marra yamuru requires a harfu jar. So you bring a ba, bi sa'idin. So there's no choice here because how do you do this? Imagine there's no illa, right? Imagine there's no illa. How would you say it? Same way. وإن كان المستثنى بعد. Now this is all about إلا. وإن كان المستثنى بعد غير سواء سواء حاشا كان مجرورا عند الجميع. It will be majur. Other words, for example, ما خلا ما عدا and all that, it was mansub. But this غير سوا, same meaning حاشا. For example, وفي حاشا عند الأكثر. في غير سوا سوا. All of them said, yeah, we have to make it majur, and hasha, majority of them said. Nahw ja'anil qawmu ghayru majidin. Now you'll be like, what should we do for ghayru? Because majidin we understand majur, but what about ghayru? So it should have been actually ghayra, because this is a positive sentence. Like illa, the word after illa, similarly ghayra should be like, imagine there's an illa there. And then, is it a positive sentence? Yes. So you should be ghayra majidin. The people came to me except Majid. Was Siva. Siva, you won't know anything. Ghayra is a double process now. First, you have to imagine there's an illa, and then what will happen to illas, the word after illa, and then that should be the i'rab of ghayra. I mean, two options anyways, ghayra or ghayru. So this should be ghayra majidin. It's like he did here. Yeah, see. Ghayra, yeah. Ghayra majidin. Ja'anil qawmu غير مجيد وسوى مجيد وحاشا مجيد. Same meaning. People came to me except Majid. Yeah, he brings a whole paragraph for غيرا now. It's same thing like illa. يعرب غير إعراب المستثنى بإلا. So the word after illa, that is the mustathna, you do the same i'rab. تقول جاءني القوم غير. What? It should be غير زيد. It's a mistake. Again, the guy who's putting the fatha dhamma he made a mistake again. Because this is a positive sentence. Blindly make it mansub. So غير غير وغير حامد. What? وحير حمار. This should also be غير. The people came to me غير زيد غير حمار. This is because munqate, no? It's a different. People came to me except Zaid, except the donkey. وما جاءني, and this is negative now. Okay, negative, this is mentioned. And no one came to me غير سعيد. So it is mentioned, you have two choices now. Okay, you have two choices. One, what are those choices? وما جاءني غير سعيد or غير سعيد. وما رأيت غير سعيد. Here there's no choice because this is a mufarraq. It's empty. وما مررت بغير سعيد. So this is all options you can do. ولفظ غير موضوع للصفة. So غير is placed for because of صفة. وقد يستعمل للاستثناء, and it is used for استثناء. So actually غير should be an adjective. An adjective. It is sometimes used as an exception, like لو كان فيهما آلهة إلا here. وقد يستعمل للاستثناء كما أن لفظة إلا موضوع للاستثناء. So what is explaining is غير actually it should have been used as a sifa, as an adjective, but it can be used for exception. And kama anna lafzata illa, illa is actually used for exception, but it could be used for sifa also. So he's talking about the two roles which would come. Ghayru should have been sifa most of the time, but sometimes exception. Illa is only for exception, but sometimes for sifa also. Kama fi qawlihi ta'ala, لو كان فيهما آلهة إلا الله لفسدتا. If there had been gods besides Allah, they would have been corrupted, the skies and the heavens. So he says, Illa ay ghayrullah. Aliha, what type of aliha? Without Allah, besides Allah. That means it's a sifa. And kadhalika qawluka la ilaha illallah. And similarly, your speech la ilaha illallah. So la ilaha illallah, la ilaha ghayrullah. You'd be like, why? Why can't we accept? There's a whole story of why. Okay, fine. If you say, okay, illa is istithna, fine. Why? Now you have to ask, which type is it? First, you have to ask, is it a positive sentence? Yes, it looks positive. Law kana fihima alihatun. It's not a question. It's not negation. Okay, it's a positive sentence. Then you have to ask a question. Is it like muttasil or munqati'? So is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala na'udhu part of the false gods? No, he's not. And then that means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is munqati'. Because there's no existence of gods at all. You see? Like if I say the students came except Hamid, there's some existence, no? Like there's some existence. So if you say munqati', that means there are gods there, and then Allah is separate from the gods. But there are no gods at all. There is no bigger group at all. So that's why they said illa is not an exception here, because there's no wujud at all. And there's another explanation also they give. It cannot be munqati', it cannot be muttasil. It's neither of those. And then the riwayah illallahu has been read because this is a positive sentence. So it should be read illallah. So there are, and similarly, la ilaha illallahu ilaha, there's no God except Allah. We translate except Allah, but grammatically speaking, again, the same thing applies. So ilah, the bigger group, ilah, aliha, is Allah part of that? Na'udhu billah, no. Is Allah separate from that? That means they exist. So, it goes into this thing. He gives a footnote 45. Let us see the footnote, and then we'll go read the khulasa. What he does is, so footnotes he gives at the end. 45. He just gives the verse number, I guess. Yeah, it's just a verse number. Okay. We are 16th lesson, no? Sorry. 15th lesson, we did Tamyiz last time to Mustathna. Yeah, we are done. خلاصة الخلاصة summary الاستثناء هو إخراج ما بعد إلا أو إحدى أخواتها. And it is except removing something which comes after إلا or one of its sisters. من حكم ما قبلها, from the ruling of what is before it. والمخرج يسمى مستثنى. And the thing being removed, you throwing out someone, is called mustathna. And the bigger group is called والمخرج منه, from whom you're throwing, is mustathna minhu. والمستثنى متصل منقطع. And it could be متصل منقطع. The bigger division is متصل منقطع. إعراب المستثنى على أنواع. النصب. What is nasb mandatory? 4 places it says المستثنى متصل في كلام الموجب التام. One is, it should be muttasil in the speech which is positive and complete, tam. Al-mustathna munqati, also make it mansub blindly. Al-mustathna mutaqaddim ala al-mustathna minhum. And that is, mustathna is mutaqaddim, is coming before. That time also you make it mansub. Al-mustathna hasaba al-awamil, and mustathna according to the agent. Jawazun nasbi wa tabi'iyati. You can do both when it's a negative sentence and the bigger group, the mustathna minhu, is mentioned. Then we have i'rabu hasb al-awamil. If it is nothing is there, it's mufarrag. What do? You imagine there's no illa there. ويخفض المستثنى إذا كان الاستثناء غير سوى سواء حاشا. You make it مجرور. يخفض means مجرور, يجر. وخفضه في حاشا عند الأكثر, and حاشا according to majority. وكلمة غير تعرب بإعراب المستثنى بإلا, and غير you do it according to what illa comes. So should it be غير or غير? It depends on the mustathna بإلا. أسئلة. ما هو المستثنى مثل له? What is mustathna? Give an example. You can go back and see. مستثنى is إخراج and إلى كم قسم ننقسم مستثنى. مستثنى is divided into two. عدد أنواع إعراب المستثنى. The types of i'rab, the three types, right? One is mansub, then jawaz mansub, or you can do badal, and the third is hasaba i'rabihi. ما هو الاستثناء مفرق? What is مفرق? It's empty totally. اذكره مع أمثلة ما جاء إلا حامد. ما هو معنى التام الموجب? So tam means complete and mujab means positive. وغير موجب non-positive. ما هو إعراب اللفظ غير? غير, how do you do the word غير? According to what? إلا. Same rules will apply. ما هو الفرق بين إلا وغير? إلا and غير, what are the this thing differences? So he said إلا is for exception and غير is for صفة, but they can be used, change few times. ما عذاب المستثنى عدا خلا حاشا. You make it mansub, no? Hasha, because Hasha, some say majroor and some say Hasha. Yeah, you have to do majroor here. And Ada and Khala are verbs, so you can make it mansub. Mata yajuzu i'rab al-mustathna ala badaliyati. When do you do badal? When it is negative and it is mentioned. And mata yata'annu nasb, when he has nasb, all the four situations. Okay. You have to exercise tamarin. Ayyil al-mustathna was mustathna minhu. Specify the mustathna and mustathna minhu. Bayyin ma huwa i'rab al-mustathna fima yali min al-jumal al-atiya. Jumal. It's a mistake, a typo again. Who's putting tashkil, bro? Mention mustathna and mustathna minhu and explain what's the i'rab of mustathna fima yali in the following sentences. Ma ja'a illa salimun. So, first question asked, no one came. Where's the no one word? There's no one word here. So there is no mustathna minhu. So we say salimun. So what should be i'rab? Should it be saliman? No. Imagine there's no illa. So how do you say ma ja'a salimun? Salim did not come. So you add. So this is the third type. So mustathna is here, but there's no mustathna minhu. So it should follow. Ja'a needs a file. So salimun is a file. Ja'a al-musafiruna ada samiran. Ada is a verb. So fine. So where's the mustathna minhu? This is the mustathna minhu. And this is the mustathna. Travelers came except Samir. Ma marartu illa bil ahsani akhlaqa. I did not pass by except the one who has the best character. So where's the mustathna minhu? It's not there. And bil ahsani akhlaqan. Illa bil ahsani akhlaqan. I think this is the mustathna. I mean the whole thing actually. No. Bi ahsan. Yeah, mudaf. We just say the mudaf bil ahsani akhlaqan. Akhlaqan is mansub because of the object of ahsan. So this is the mustathna. Ma ja'at tullabu. This is the mustathna minhu. Siva muallimihim. Siva is like ghayra. Negative sentence. So siva we can't do anything anyway. So this is the mustathna. وهو مضاف and مضاف. لا يقوم إلا حامدا. There's no mustathna minhu. Only mustathna. I hope you're understanding, inshallah. Fill in the blanks. Mustathna munasiban. Ma ra'itu ghayra. Because ghayra came, I did not see anyone. Ghayra hamidin. Ghayra will always have the mudaf ilayhi. غير حامد. I did not see except Hamid. جاء التلاميذ. The students came except إلا حميدا. It's a positive sentence. Blindly make it mansub. إلا حميدا. ما قدم المسافرون سوى. Now سوى is like غير. So it needs a مضاف إليه. ما قدم المسافرون سوى حامد. كتبت الدروس عدا. I wrote the lessons except um, عدا الأولي, except the first one. عدا, oh, عدا is a verb, no? عدا الأول. أعطيت الفقراء منحة. منحة is what? Grant. منحة. منحة is to grant something, so minha is similar to grant. منحة يمنح, to grant. Manhun is greeting, donation. Minha, act of kindness. Gift, grant. Manha or manhun or minhatun, same thing. Khala no, khala is a verb, so khala hamidan. دع مستثنى منه مناسبا. جاءني المسافرون إلا سعيدا. You can put anything. ذهب غير رجل. ذهب القوم. All the people went except a man. وجدت الكتاب إلا ورقة. I found the book except a page. قرأت مجلة العلوم. قرأت مجلات كثيرة سوى مجلة العلوم, except science magazine. تحديت. What does تحديت mean? تحدى. Challenged? No. حدا يحدو is to urge, spur on. So what is form 5? To compete. I competed. تحديت. تحديت الطلاب. خلا العلماء منه. Except scholars from them. I mean, students or scholars anyways not from this students. But still we can say that. منقطع, I guess. تحديت الطلاب. دع أداة استثناء مناسبة. So you want ما جاء إلا حسين. Nobody came except Hussein. ما قرأت غير درس واحدة. غير. You can use غير. Except one lesson. جاء الطلاب إلا أمتعتهم. ذهب المسافرون إلا. Oh, this is positive. إلا أمتعتهم. Or they can use a verb. خلا عدا ما عدا خلا. سمت الشهر إلا يوما. So positive sentence, do it like this. And give the إعراب. So we'll just do for this thing. رأيت الطلاب سوى خالد مضاف إليه. سوى is مستثنى. You have to do for every word, I guess. فعل, فاعل, مفعول به. لكل داء دواء. For every disease there's a medicine. يستطب به إلا الحماقة. Except madness or foolishness. يستطب means which is sought medicine for. أعيت من يداويها. أعيت. أعيا. So أعيا, tired. Whoever treats will become tired. أعيا يعي. أعيت من يداويها. ما كتبناها عليهم إلا ابتغاء رضوان الله. Again a mistake. It should be رضوان. We did not write on them except seeking the pleasure of Allah. Or we did not decree on them. So إلا ابتغاء, why is this mansub? There's nothing mentioned. No, Mustathna minhu is not mentioned. So kataba requires an object. So this is mufarrag. So that's why it's mansub. Allah yaqulu Allahi illa al-haqqa. That you don't say to Allah on Allah. Again, nothing is mentioned. Yaqulu shay'an or something. Here also shay'an. So illa al-haqqa is mufarrag. هل ينتصر إلا المؤمن. هل ينتصر أحد إلا المؤمن. Again, this is it needs a file. Is victorious. Only the believer becomes a victorious. يوم لا ينفع مال ولا بنون إلا من أتى الله بقلب سليم. إلا man is لا ينفع مال ولا بنون إلا من أتى الله. Man is mabni anyways. Who comes to Allah with a clear heart or salim, safe heart. This first things first. Is it a positive sign? It's not. It's negative. لا ينفع is Mustathna minhu mentioned ينفع مال أحدا. It's not mentioned, I guess. أحدا, so it should be mansub because it's mufarraq again. Allahu Alam. You can go and see the i'rab of it, inshallah ta'ala. With that, we are done with the 16th lesson with Mustathna. Inshallah, we'll continue with 17th lesson in the next class. Khabaru kana wa akhwatiha. Kana's sisters, Kana's khabar and sisters. Jazakallahu Khair, barakallahu feek. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Subhanakallah wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum.